leaves just about everything up. So what did they want to do? They want the Meiko. All right, so we're going to have some shenanigans. I'm not sure. Anyone who didn't catch yesterday's games, we had Forge on Ultra Prime playing the Meiko, and it was a bit of a treat. So I hope we get some similar shenanigans coming out today. Of course, it is also a flex pick, so we don't know whether it's going in the mid lane. I think the priority typically has been in pro play so far from the mid lane. NIP on the opposite side, however, we'll just be looking for something very close to standard and what we're used to inside of the Wukong and the FLEs.
It's so hard as well, you know, paying attention to Lilia's mother, as we all know that Nico is that she can assimilate into a minion wave. She can move into a ward. Like, if you're not paying attention, the punishment is there. So for EDG, as they look to snap up another priority ban, they've got themselves a lot of tools already up against this Wukong and Aphelios. Jamada, this feels like murder. What else is a big I mean, the Jinx, again, you said it's a favorable matchup. Is that what you go here? Like,
yeah,
EDG kind of has the pick of the litter.
Yeah, they can do a lot, right? If they're also thinking about their jungle pick, if they're concerned about that, they can go there. But I think Jinx is just probably the go-to, right? Unless they're thinking about something else in mind. But it just feels like such a no-brainer that if they didn't go it, I would be surprised. And there's the lock-in and the confirmation. Yeah, someone give Viola Davis on the phone, because someone is getting away with murder, I think. NIP need to shore up this draft ASAP, because there's a lot of power picks on the other side. Jack's blind would be, well, I say blind, but in the context of Nico is air quotes a flex, right? Yeah. You know, you could still get counterpicked here by EDG, but I think very confident in the ability of an Invincible to go Jax into the Cassante seems to be the case, and that's what NIP will do.
And you know, it is Meiko. Like, on your point to come back, even though we haven't seen it just yet in the LPL, we know it can be a flex because Meiko is the one who's played things like Lissandra support. He is quite innovative in his own right that people forget. So that Nico, yeah, is going to be left in air quotes for the time being. So maybe there's some flexibility in draft, but NIP don't think so. They think it's going to be that Nico towards mid lane and Lulu going to be sitting towards that bottom lane no longer. A banner way to the support is giving Jinx a little bit of a boost here with Enchanters, Jamada. What else gets taken off the table?
Yeah, you could also... We saw a Karma pick come out the other day as well. Could see that one also removed away if NIP are thinking about that for Meiko. But with the Lulu gone, it does kind of cover a lot of the enchanters. You could just get rid of the Thresh, right? EDG did just draft something which was very, very spring split. So if you want to remove that safety net, you can. But you can also take it yourself, right? Remove away the Nautilus instead. Take away an engage option and then go for something a little more pick-orientated yourself. Or pick away the Thresh and go towards Nautilus. They go towards the Poppy, interestingly enough. I'm curious to know what they're targeting for. If they just feel like Arla could take that up there themselves, or Jiejie could have it, and then it feels a little bit bad on the jungle matchup too. Unsure off the top of my head, but EDG likely very happy to just ban away another mid laner, right? Something that feels really obnoxious into the Nico is something like the Syndra, and of course Syndra plus Wukong can be a very, very powerful 2v2, and EDG have that read.
So, Syndra is taken away. Good one there, Jamada. I also want to raise the issue of something like the Viego again here. Maybe coming through as well. We'll see, but Akali actually from Angel, we wanted to see a bit more carry potential from him. This is exactly what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, all right. You wanted the carry potential, and he gives you the Akali. So I'm not entirely sure how Akali and Nico per se, match. But I imagine the early laning phase, the lane bully that Nico is, FoFo should have so much lane priority, and that could give EDG a lot of freedom on the map in the early stages. Once level 6 rolls around, maybe there's kill threat, right? And after all, Perfect Execution is a very, very strong ultimate for finding those angles as EDG go towards the Viego. Jiejie, very, very comfortable on that pick. Might even have a skin named after him. I'm not sure if you know that, by the way. Hey. But yeah, Meiko now with the opportunity to go towards plenty of engage options, and I think that's how EDG round out this composition. As right now, they are definitely lacking on their own ability to pull the trigger. I think someone like Rakan, very slippery, very hard to stop at the minute from the NIP side, right? It's only really the Cyclone that can do that. So I like this lock-in, and NIP looking like they'll take the other side of that coin with the Nautilus.
Okay, so expected here for the bottom lane in the 2v2. My biggest question is towards the mid lane. I'm just going to wait for Zhuo to lock this in. Then I've got a plethora of questions here in this game. Jamada, we've rounded out some of the engage. I think I need a bit more on how NIP win this game because we have very volatile solo lanes coming in.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I think for me, if they can actually get a lead on this Jax, he might be very close to unstoppable on the side lane, right? We've seen already today how strong this Jax can be. I think going towards a build which is geared for murdering towers, right? Demai Tundra into Hullbreaker, and all of a sudden, not only do you have a whole bunch of armor, but you also have the MR to deal with the Meiko if she comes to clear the wave for you, and the Hullbreaker cannon minion will also always be an issue for that champion. So I think that's an avenue that NIP can look to go towards. I think skirmishing at level 6 very powerful between the Wukong and the Akali.
On NIP here in 2023 summer.
Absolutely, and given a very, very mechanical champion to potentially pull NIP back into this series, would hate to get 2-0'd in the opening day for themselves. And I think for NIP, it is going to be very, very difficult to navigate a lot of the early stages. I think this mid lane matchup in particular is going to be very, very rough. Looking for a little bit of information here. We'll see whether or not Meiko will get a little spicy. He won't, but we'll ping out that that ward is there. I'm very curious about the bottom side matchup though, as a little bit of jumping here from Allah. Just because Leave 1v1, I've said this a lot, that Jinx can get priority over the affiliates on the first couple of waves, but again, when you can't support, a lot less pressure can be put down in comparison to what Zhuo can. So I think that NIP might actually have a little bit of wiggle room down there on the bottom side, and top side, like you mentioned, very, very volatile. We've seen the matchup go both ways over the last 5 or 6 months. So we'll have to kind of hold our breath and see how Invincible does, as Ala did get the better of him in game number 1.
Jiejie going to be spotted out in the starting clear here as well. On Wrap as he begins. Invincible getting a bit of information as well. So just a double whammy there as NIP start on Wolves themselves. We're not starting on priority buffs for the time being. Just changing up the clears that microscopic amount. It's just funny as well. I mean, for EDG, we can quickly mention that with this draft, the fact that they got Jinx, Neeko, and Cassante all on blue side is kind of obnoxious. Already FoFo just showing us some of the power of this laning champion as level 2 hit for that 3-hit proc, and FoFo gets priority.
Yeah, FoFo will have very consistent priority, right? Akali, very high energy costs for the first 7-ish levels or so of her life on the 5-point strike, so gaining priority generally just sucks. And Neeko is one of those champions where, of course, we're going to start to see it a lot more, right, this year with the recent visual update and such, but of old, it would get priority if it was AP into most matchups. Like, even the traditional matchups where you'd expect a mage to get priority, Neeko would just win it. And of course, into melees, it's even worse with 3-hit proc, so expect Angel to get bullied out, fall behind in CS, but as long as he makes it to level 6 at a reasonable time, and is able to join with Shadow at the first Herald, I think, is when they will look to find their first skirmish. They should be easy sailing. However, if FoFo does overstep, can definitely start to snowball a little bit out of control, as Akali often can take over those matchups 1v1.
True. And again, there's volatility. This game in general. Just quick mention, Jiejie was in the enemy jungle, took away the Gromp, while Shadow tried to avoid vision up towards Raptors. They know he's either got that camp or he's going to be coming in here, and Jiejie has spotted him out. Shadow not willing to take the 1v1, despite a lot of Wukongs feeling confident here with the passive. Jiejie moves back to River. FoFo running in as well. Look at Angel's health bar. There might be numbers advantage for now, but health should be favoring EDG as FoFo pokes out with Blooming Birds. Looking for the engage. This skirmish kicking off real fast as Tangle Barbs hits at max range, but FoFo's already used the Blooming Burst, so there's no follow-up for the simple CC3 shot. And NIP just back away, and Jiejie takes his prize as the scuttle.
Yep, Jiejie gets a skull, and they've been tracking Shadow quite meticulously throughout the early game. They all see that Jiejie's returned to the blue buff, but at the end of the day, the damage is already done, to be honest with you. And now Ala will also be able to very freely shove in this wave, as he should expect that Shadow won't be here on the top side of the map anymore.
Well, we'll just continue tracking out as what happened in the bottom lane. Looks like a couple of summoners burn as Angel, quick little bit of burst here from FoFo. It's run dry on mana a bit, but still Angel has to be careful. Note that was Ignite and goes popped by Leave and Meiko in the bottom lane. So Photic and Zhuo having a bit of success here, Jamada. You talked a lot about the power from this Nautilus in the lane. Already a very good sign starting this game too, that Photic and Zhuo are holding their own.
Yeah, exactly. Right. The priority might go the way of Leave, and Meiko just because of the range advantage that the Rockets can bring. But once you get this gun swap over, right, the first swap off of red and green to blue and purple, you can have a little bit of pressure because of the added CC in the wave clear. So nice to see that Zhuo and Photic were just taking a little bit of advantage of that, and Zhuo was just gonna slip into the mid lane and just give Angel a little bit of reprieve, right? You could start to see how much pressure FoFo was putting down, but starting to run out of mana, and we'll just have to back away as Angel is given this little bit of breathing room from his support.
Shapes what it makes it so annoying to trade in this lane as well, even without mana. You get kind of surprised by that third hit proc coming through from the Nico as our camera shifts down towards bot because a plate just about to be taken. Minions doing the dirty work and giving Meiko and Leave their first here. And even despite those summons being burnt, I mean, having flash is enough, and also having yourself a Jinx and Rakan seems to be enough as well to give respect and give Leave a bit more gold in this game. Now, Mr. Marta, as I've been calling you today, we're getting towards 6, brother, and we are getting towards the first dragon as well. Jiejie hovering on this bottom side, so I'm kind of curious to see what the play is here.
Yeah, they look for it.
Oh, it's that. Okay.
There you go. There's your answer.
And another one. Well done.
Okay, great. I'm glad that NIP and EDG were able to answer your question before I could. They get both some of the spells. Lane priority should also mean that this dragon is a pretty easy pickings. FoFo should be able to shove out the way pretty much whenever he wants, as he has been throughout the entirety of the early laning phase so far. And Shadow, bless him, looking for things to take away on the top side, just isn't able to find anything because Angel continues to be shoved back. Nice little sidestep on the Shuriken flip.
Where's Angel going?
Looking for the plants, but they're so far up the lane that Arla's going to be able to stop him from getting it.
Hello? Yeah, just runs at him as well. FoFo now converging. I mean, this is great movement. Flash might have to be burned here from the Tangle Barbs into the Shroud. No. FoFo trying to pick a target as this Shuriken flip to get out, but Shadow now zoned out. He was able to pick up the camps, but still, pressure added in as even Draw walks up. Dragon not taken yet. Herald still hasn't spawned yet, but it does seem like EDG through their lanes doing pretty well, especially in this mid.
Yeah, really surprised that the Dragon didn't go down there. They had perfect setup for it, right? But NIP given a little bit of, I don't know, luck, really, I suppose. That the Dragon second doesn't come into fruition, but the laning phase, you can still see rough across the board. This plate should go down. FoFo taking it in the face of Angel because he knows he can. Probably look for one more Q once he sees Angel come out of the Shroud, and yeah, again, this laning phase continues to be rough. Now, I will caveat this by saying we did see yesterday, of course, Care ran the Kiana, the former champions, but Amelia Assassin, right, in the mid lane, fell behind in CS, the lane sucked, but then had a massive amount of impact inside the team fight. So that is still something that Angel can provide here, as Jiejie obviously in the way the Grom plan, Shadow continues to be bullied out of his own jungle.
I mean, Jiejie having a nice day of it as well. That'll even open things up to start this dragon. While you can see FoFo's helping that out. He's got mid priority. And bot's already pushed out. Photic and Zhuo just holding the way for the time being, but with jungle down there. Let's see if it's a possibility. In the meanwhile, it's a slower game. And Jamada, I think we're just seeing another trend again. EDG like to play their game slow. They pressure, they look for a pick, they get the enemy team to back down, but they don't have to overforce. They're quite controlled again through these early games, that they're not as bloody as our other LPL teams. They are a lot more of a slower team from what we experienced last year as well.
Yeah.
Last split.
Last split, yeah, 100%. Looking a lot more disciplined, right? And I think that's honestly a fine look also for EDG if they want to just take this one slow as they open out the split. And once they start to get to some of the other opponents that you'd expect to be around them, right? Your JDGs, your BLGs, LNG as well, likely to return a strong contender as Invincible. Jump in.
Almost dying. He's got flash available. He's got the all-out as well. He's trying to time out Invincible's ulti, which he has, and he's healing up. So I guess we'll keep an eye on top.
Yeah, we will. As this is going on, Herald will be picked up, and Jiejie's on the bottom side of the map, so this is not going to be contested at all by EDG. Will Arla find a window?
Close.
But no cigar.
Was walked up here as well. Yeah, well, unfortunately not, as we've been waiting for years for Graves to pick up smoking again.
Terrible habit.
Of course, we don't recommend.
No.
No.
But
no,
Graves enjoys it as
foolish.
the gangster hustler that he is.
Oh. And Arla going to be spotted out. Just waiting for him to pop the all out, but I guess not near a wall.
So tense, isn't it? Like,
It is, isn't it? It's because Casante's ridiculous.
Well, whilst all that was going on,
this is happening.
Yeah, 2 plates. Yeah, not bad. 300 and something gold. Feels all right. Oh no, he's not going to get the second one. That's a shame. But NIP picked up the Herald, so still feels good. And all of the, you know, all of the posturing from Invincible and Arla. I mean, they're actually still sticking around in lane. One of them was basing. As the handlebars. That CC is so long when it goes through a minion. That's with Merc Treads, by the way. They really want that second plate. Leave.
They'll get it. Minions? Yeah. Nice. Okay. Photic just building up the chakrams. Leaving Meiko respect that, especially with Shadow down the bottom side. He's walked past a ward. Hasn't actually spotted that one out, only to the left here as a brush. As Jiejie is coming to intercept. He's got a big CS lead. So a CS leader leads to a level leaders. Hang on. All out going to come through. Invincible has to flash away. Arla has his own, but he needs to stack up that Q as... Hang on, meanwhile, first blood happens in the bottom lane. We're looking at Arla. Cameraman's like, nah, we're committing to top. I don't care anymore. Let's not look at bot.
We don't need to know. All we need to know is that it's Shadow getting bullied again. All right? We'll get a replay, no doubt about it. But that 1v1 was more enthralling, Jake, and that's the important thing. Okay. Wouldn't it be funny if the replay was of
the top lane?
Yeah. Oh, nice flash. So Jiejie getting over the decoy there, and as soon as that stun connects, that's it. And you get CC'd up by Meiko as well. Really nice from Jiejie, and unfortunately Shadow can't quite react in time.
You just look at that lead. Jungle's massive. It's a 3K gold lead. It's huge.
Do you get that reference? Jungle is massive.
Jungle is massive.
Yeah.
Should I?
It's a UK. No, it's fine. It's a very UK like clubbing,
British,
raving culture. Yeah, it's British.
Okay. Yeah, sick. No, I don't. I'm your convict. I'm sent to an island 20 hours away.
Yeah. With all the poisonous snakes and spiders and all of that stuff.
It.
And yeah.
And you know, people that say the word prawn instead of shrimp. God, if anyone says shrimp on the Barbie, actually just remove yourself.
Aren't they different things though? Isn't like prawn is the big one?
I don't know.
Right? Shrimp
I don't
is the
think
small
so.
one.
I wouldn't fight this. I wouldn't fight. I think Jiejie's quite big. Depth charge on Meiko. His quickness not available, so maybe a timing is Pop Blossom, but FoFo is flashed away from by Zhuo. Super Mega Death Rocket flies from the heavens from Leave. And EDG forcing a fight that NIP just can't take. And again, that gold lead kind of showing itself.
Yeah, starting to rear its head into the gameplay, right? And NIP, even though they've got the engage tools, it feels like they're not really looking anywhere on the map. And I think the priority from the mid lane is what's kind of the core symptom of this. Now, Jiejie and Meiko find themselves in the middle of 5 members.
Heartbreaker. Angel's over the wall. Can Jiejie 1v1 the Scully? Well, we don't need to find out as Meiko gets out. Angel now forced out by FoFo. The W in, but Angel jumping back in might just give a reset. In fact, it's someone else that dies. Shadow again, but no reset given. An Angel somehow surviving. No clue how that man got out with his mission, but a 1-for-1 with junglers both perishing in the end.
Yeah, it's because FoFo's Q was aimed to kind of hit both Angel and Shadow, and not just Angel in the Shroud. Invincible can't be hit. And unfortunately, Invisible rather can't be hit. And yeah, must slip out with his life there. Jiejie also couldn't get to the Wukong form to start off a reset city fight. So feels pretty good for NIP to walk away with just the 1-for-1, considering how dangerous that situation ended up being, despite Jiejie and FoFo being the ones that get collapsed on.
We all know what happens in the base. Shadow obviously died. Herald was timing out. He had to put it in base, so it's going towards the top side as Angel's just poked out with the Death Rocket yet again. He's going to be backing away while this turret is kind of forfeit at this point. That'll be first turret blood under 14 minutes, as well as look at this one, Jamada, because EDG decided the blue buff was worth going in for.
Yeah, the ultimate there from Jiejie blocks out so much CC. Meiko also dodges out on the Moonlight Vigil. Up here, however, Angel holds onto the E until the W comes out, but you can see, actually, tell a lie, it was actually a flash out from Angel from that Q, so it wasn't aimed necessarily at both. Whew, false commentary from myself as it slips out on the very back end. Real slick from the Akali. Shadow does give his life. In the end of it, as a Shadow might give his life again.
We'll have to see that all out. That all out is there. Shadow has no way out. And Arla's not even pulled the trigger on the ulti flip back. And he just slaps him with the back end of his swords. EDG with a good pick. And you have to give props to Meiko. That was smooth.
Yeah, it was. But also, just so we're clear, Shadow just didn't W over the wall. I'm not sure what he W'd for.
True.
Maybe thought the range was a bit bigger than it was. A little bit unlucky. Shadow definitely having a bit of a rough game, but I think that's more credit to EDG, like proactively shutting him out throughout a majority of the early stages. And, you know, the call from myself personally was I wanted to see Shadow on something where he would be the one initiating a lot of these team fights, and Wukong definitely can be that member. And EDG just decided to play specifically around this jungle matchup, put Jiejie so far ahead. The CS difference is massive. 40 CS between the two junglers, a little bit more than that, 45 realistically. 10 camps, the difference between Shadow and Jiejie right now.
That's gotta be the gold lead.
On almost even. Yeah, what is. This is why I don't like the jungle role, by the way. Look, they're a Kindle gem apart.
True.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Still somehow. I mean, you look at towards mid CS lead, bot CS lead, top CS lead, and place adding into that as well. And they got first turret as Herald now goes down as well. EDG. It really is another version of Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal. They are getting away with so much as Arla in the best position. He's going to launch onto Zhuo, who goes golden, but EDG pull back. Cyclone comes in, Meiko with the quickness. He's in, he's out, he's all around. Pop blossom! Up and down they go! FoFo will go golden as now it's Reset City! Nico, knee!
Triple kill for Leave on the back end as well. Nico, knee indeed. FoFo, that was a great call, Jay. I was so astonished by it. I had to give it a second to sit. But FoFo finds a 3-man ultimate. And EDG just route NIP where they stand. Herald as well dropped. Leave will pick up 2 towers for himself. And this game, it was already a little bit blown wide open, but now this one feels a little bit done and dusted for EDG. We'll see where exactly they will now go on the map to close this one out, as an IP are likely going to struggle to try and find options, but they are still there between Nautilus and between the Wukong.
Man, this stops. So we get the POV from Meiko, by the way, to start this off, which looks like it was a quick spot.
Oh, this is from before. This is where...
Yeah,
Shadow just desperately tried to dodge out on the W and try and get over the wall, but I think realistically, you have to pick one, right? Like, get hit by the W or make it over the wall, right? Like, choose. Unfortunately, he Ws and still gets hit and doesn't make it over the wall, as this engage from FoFo was great. Zhuo also buys so much time with that stopwatch, right? He was the one that was going to get engaged on initially, but this drench line misses onto Arla, it sends him into the charm, which then connects into a 3-man knockup from FoFo. And stopwatches, Photic can't get out the damage, and then Jiejie has stolen away Nautilus form, dragged him in, and this is a triple kill. Angel can't quite do enough to get away as the Ghost was running for Leave.
And a much better game from EDG. I know it is early days where EDG threw away last time. A little bit later than this is Zhuo in a bit of trouble. Jiejie trying to run out. Turret complete going to be taken, but Angel still has to be wary of one of the strongest members of EDG right now in that jungle. But it's an 8k gold lead. Like, EDG, you have to say their first 20 minutes of the game, just like last game, have been exceptional. And they've already broken out an inhibitor pre-20 minutes. They're looking at another inner turret. And right now, NIP are struggling to get their first outer, which they might get as a bit of combo gold. But what else can they find? Angel jumping back in. Jiejie takes a big hit. So granted, Angel is large and in charge, but nothing in comparison to the rest of EDG. Minions. Okay, is this what happened at the break? Oh, a little bit sneaky. Oh, hell yeah. Nico thinks.
Yes, that's how the inhibitor dropped in the replay. That's so funny, man.
That makes sense.
I wish we saw that in live. I really do. But NIP down an inhibitor. The dragon spawns in 20 seconds, and this just feels really bad for NIP, right? Because the dragon is gonna die before the Baron is, right? So, or before the Baron spawns up, rather. So once that dragon's gone, then EDG can just shift all of their pressure and focus towards that top side of the map. And then NIP are funneled in to trying to make a decision. I mean, Shadow, sure. Oh no.
He has been found. Okay, press the alarm. Shadow with a double cyclone. Almost dying here, but whoa, Meiko. It looks good, but The rest of the team are like, where are you going, brother? Angel jumping in now, has to buy time. He's already found one, the Heartbreaker. Not hitting, but they know where he is. Nice lens from Jiejie as he gets a reset. And Arla is taking on the whole world. He survives, and up again! Oh, you gotta love Meiko. This is why you ban the champion. FoFo has been given a blessing with Lilia's mother in that mid lane.
FoFo may have pressed the R key, but we have to give credit to Arla for finding the 3-man knockback as well to secure the CC. And with that team fight, EDG are going to close this game out. Death timers are a little short. Maybe NIP can save it, but I think this one is done 2-0 in 20 minutes.
20 minutes. What a recovery from last game. You're right, people might be up, but EDG are not playing anymore. A 2-0 on the day against NIP. EDG resuming right where they left off.
Yep, I knew it. They were going to be angry. They were going to be angry with the spring results. And I think this game too in particular, definitely showing a very clean opening early game as well from game number 1. And EDG want to pick up, as you say, right where they left off. And they have a quick series here in Shenzhen against NIP, who I think definitely left a lot to be desired in this series. Admittedly, you know, EDG will likely have aspirations towards the top end of the table, whereas NIP, you know, fighting to try and make it into that top 10, but definitely didn't get to see much of NIP